Okay, number 3. ويستعمل الإشارة المناسبة لتقرير وتوضيح ما يقول دون مبالغة في الإكثار منها. Right, so he's really giving us a one-on-one teaching course how to teach. Right, so number 3, right, to use gestures in teaching. Like never sit there and be boring and not move and be stiff. And I used to have an AMS teacher like that. Already is AMS kan. And then she taught us AMS and EMS. Like, and subhanallah, these are trained teachers. Is NIE teaching you all these things? Or is this natural for teachers? Like, sometimes I wonder, like, what I never went through NIE, so I have no clue what is being taught in NIE. But then in the schools, you meet all kinds of teachers. Right? So there are those who do come in, and my AMS and EMS teacher was like that. Right? She would come in all the way, sit at her desk. Right? She would have a visualizer, right, whereby she has a paper there, and she would teach the entire of AMS and EMS doing that. Sitting there, draw on the paper. Right? And all of us are still in the class, nobody's paying attention. Like, because we're Sec 3, Sec 4, so I'm not matured yet. Right? So, like, it was, and she had a mic out with her. Right? But she would even look up. She would just write on the board. So today we're going to learn about LCM, HCF, right? So LCM, it is lowest common multiple. So, like, straight away you're like, what in the world? Straight away none of us paying attention. Especially those at the back. You're not paying attention to her. Right? Because there's no gesture, there's no eye contact, there is no facial expression, there's nothing. Even for teenagers, they need it. Even for adults, not teenagers. Even adults need intonation, even in mathematics. Actually, in fact, especially in mathematics, especially in mathematics, there needs to be more excitement, in the thing. Make it simple for them. Right? Whenever they come for tuition, they will they have no clue what the topic is about. And my student came in to me that day and she was like, I have no clue what is vectors about. Right? Vectors are so boring, so complicated. I don't know what it's about. I say, vectors, it's very simple. So I just showed her a bit. She said, that's it. Yeah, that's it. The whole topic, that's it. Over and over again, every question I can bet you these 3 steps. That's it. Like in vectors, I break it down for you. Right? So, and every topic can be done that way. Right? And you make it as simple as possible to them. Right? And then they memorize there and then. Right? And then thereafter, every question she could do. Before that, she was completely clueless. Right? And number 1 topic is mole concept. Mole concept, they come to me completely blur about mole concept. They have no idea what it's about. Like, and then they come to you and you're like, okay, you know what, mole concept, very simple. Right, so that is what you said So here, the teacher needs to show hand movements. She needs to be expressive. She needs to engage with the students, eye contact. So these are all natural things in a teacher. Right, but Habib spells it out because there are teachers to whom these things are not natural. Right, and they teach without doing any of these things. So, and sometimes it is the way the people are. Right? Some people, they're not expressive. So if they want to be a teacher, they need to force themselves. Right? And I know someone in Tarim, right? He's one of the translators in Tarim. Right? So when he first began, right, he was very monotonous, right? No expression, reading from the book, right? The book in front of his face. Kesian lah. He's not an orator. Like, he used to work in IT before he converted. Right, so he's like, he completely had no skills in delivery at all. Right, but after a while, learning this book, watching Habib, watching the other teachers, how eloquent they are and everything, he began to learn. Right, chest up, back straight, book here. Right, translation, you have to make eye contact, you have to deliver translation. Because it's not that I'm going to translate Hababa word for word. I have to teach what she taught. Right? It's not that I'm going to just do it word for word. Translation is also an art. You have to be able to deliver, because if I do word for word, it might all be disconnected to you. Right? So I have to do it as how she did it, right? For your sake, like, in a way. So he learned, mashallah. And after like how many years of translating, he became so much better. Right? From the day that when he first began. Right? So it can be learned, it can be taught, right, to people. So number 4, وَيَتَرَدَّدَ النَّظَرِ. He's just mentioning all the points of teaching. وَيَتَرَدَّدَ النَّظَرِ وَقْتَ الْإِلْقَاءِ الدَّرْسِ فِي وُجُوهِ الطُّلَّابِ ويتأكد من إنصاتهم وانتباههم. Alright, so to always scan your audience lah. Right, scan your audience, look around, see who's sleeping, who's distracted, who's not paying attention, and to have a feel from their facial expressions, are they understanding what you're saying? Right, and if you can feel that they're not understanding, then you repeat. Right, so and this is one thing about that I actually like about homeschooling lah. Homeschooling allows you to pause and repeat until it's understood. Whereas government schooling, they have a syllabus to catch, and they have too big a class to handle. Right, so it's not their fault also, right, because there's a whole class there, so you have to catch syllabus, and you cannot wait for that one blur kid or that one slow kid or that one kid who needs more time to process. Right, but homeschooling allows you to pay attention and see every child, and to see how they are developing, how they are coming, how they are matching up with the pace. And if you and your own child, even better. Right, then you can really suit the subject, right, to her pace, as how she's absorbing this subject. Right, so I'm trying my best with this homeschooling also to try and scan each time to see if everyone is paying attention. But it's difficult because it's a foreign language. But at the same time, I'm trying, right, to see if they do make eye contact with me. And then sometimes I will repeat something more over and over again and leave what is meant for me to go through. Right, if I see that the thing is not being absorbed. Right, so sometimes if you notice, I do suddenly focus on something, right, because I see that I caught their attention, right, and they are about to pick it up. If I leave it there and then, because I'm rushing for time, right, they will lose it. Right, so I cannot leave it there and then. Right, I need to follow up with them until it goes into them, and then I can go on to the next stage. And this is what I think about homeschooling: don't rush. Right, look at your students, don't rush, right, and look at their attention span and their understanding lah of you, right, and also their attention, and how they are paying attention to you. And also when it comes to schooling, if you see that they are very any low attention span or short attention span, maybe have your lessons 20 minutes, right, break for 5 minutes to see your child lah. See your child, right? So not all children, even adults, can sit down for a good hour. Right, even in university, you won't see them sitting down for a good hour, like half an hour khalas. Right, and it depends on the teacher also. Right, so just be very aware, right, of their body language. Right, we finish the page lah. My page, not your page. Number 5, ayukarrir ru'usul masail wal muhimmatud dars ala asma'ihim wa yulqi fi khatimah khulasatud dars. Masya-Allah, trying our best to do all of these things. Right, so to always repeat, right, the subject of the lesson today. Right, so the first lesson, if you notice, I've been doing that. Right, that every lesson repeat, every lesson go back, re-emphasize, right, what is the point, right, and this will be done throughout the entire book. Right, that means every lesson we're going to repeat what we have taken, right, and that is the best way of teaching, right, without them having to sit down and memorize themselves. Right, so every day, right, repeat. Inshallah, the Arabic class also will be done in this manner, right, so that I don't burden you with having to do homework or having to do your own your own memorization at home. Right, but I'm going to try to do it as naturally as possible in class. Right, so inshallah. Right, so to repeat the subject of the matter in your class, right, and what are the points, the important points of the lesson. And in fact, if you can, write it on the board. Right, for older children who are able to read. Right, have the main points on the board so they can always focus which point are you at. Right, so if they drift off, they can come back. Right, these are ways lah. Right, and for them to able to even write down. So even now, because I was also trying to improve all my other lessons with tafsir and everything. Now with Rubat, I write out the ayats and I number parts of the ayat. Right, so when I give my tafsir, because my tafsir is sometimes all over the place, kan? So when I give a tafsir, right, I will say I'm on bullet number 1. Right, so the whole ayat, like for example, Rabbil Falaq, so Qul number 1, A'udhu number 2, right, Rabbil Falaq, okay, Falaq number 3. Right, so these are the parts of the surah I'm going to speak about, and then I have number 4 out there about the whole verse. Right, so they are able to take their notes, right, referring to the numbers that I have put on the ayat. Right, I have not done that with Surah Yasin. Right, but then I'll see lah. But it helps them follow, right, with the numbers, and then from the number they put down all the tafsir, with that point in the surah. Because sometimes it's not a particular word. Sometimes it's the entire gist, it's the entire feel of surah. It goes to a lot of things tafsir. So it's hard for me to actually, compartmentalize tafsir. Right? But so I put it in that way lah. Right? So I mean, in a way, it's all things learned from Habib. All things learned from Habib, Hababa, all of them. Subhanallah, it's a third world country, but they have like the best education system that I have seen. I mean, every teacher in Darul Zahra is a good teacher. And I don't know how that is. We went through primary school, secondary school, JC, you always meet lousy teachers. Wherever you go, even university is full of lousy teachers. They're not good at all. They're professors, they're not teachers. That's why. They are professors. Right? So they don't deliver very well. At all, in fact. So sure you can skip lecture and you can still get your A later on. Because everything's in the notes. But in Darul Zahra, every teacher I met was an excellent teacher. Every teacher. And every single one of them, my husband and I, we were discussing lah. Like every single one of them, like I would learn very good teaching techniques from them. Like how my Nahu teacher, mashallah, she was excellent in explaining Nahu the entire time. And then like all of them lah, every single one of them. They had their ways and they're all different, but they have like a core values as to come that comes to teaching, right? So, and I can see where it has come from lah, where they all have learned it from. Right? But subhanallah, every single one of them without going through training, they're all excellent teachers. And one thing also is because they are passionate about the subject, and that is the number one rule to teaching. You have to be passionate. You have to put it out somehow. Right? It has to come from passion, and they can sense if you yourself are bored from the subject. Right? You cannot teach and you are bored. Right? You have to love it. Right? So number Muhammad, and to end the lesson, right, with a summary of what you took. Right, so with a short summary of what you took, not to go into the whole thing all over again lah, but a short summary. And number 6, and last one we'll take for today. Number 6, ويفتح المجال للأسئلة ويهتم بتوضيح جوابها. نعم. Right, and to always open the floor for questions. Always open the floor for questions and not to cut short on the answer. That means explain as far as you can the answer. Right, to make sure they really understood what it is. Right, and every lesson you have to open the floor for questions. That's why small classrooms is nice. Right, large classrooms, is gonna be they're not gonna ask their questions. They're gonna be shy. Right, so small classroom size, and you can see from their face whether or not they are confused about something. If you teach enough, like you can see from their face that they are confused, they have something in their mind that they want to ask, and you make them ask their questions, and then you explain the whole thing clearly. And in fact, like I was discussing with my cousin also that we should start having kind of WhatsApp questions, where you WhatsApp to me your question, and then I will answer your question for you from the WhatsApp. If you're shy to ask, that kind of thing. Right, so for kids all the more, right, all the more if you're teaching them concepts, right, there needs to be open up questions. But for now, whenever they raise their hand, they want to just comment something. It's not a question. They raise their hand, they want to tell me about something they did yesterday or right, nothing to do with the lesson at all. Like Khalil, whenever I teach him Sirah and I tell him about like the elephant or what, then he will be like that. So that day I went to the zoo. And he wants to bring in his own input lah. And there was an elephant, no. At the zoo, he kicked the ball. Nothing to do with Sirah. Complete. Okay, the elephant lah, got link. But kids this age, I don't really layan questions because it's not a question, it's just gonna be merepek. Right, but you can layan every now and then, especially if they are insisting like Aisha just now. When she was insisting on saying something. Okay, stop. Dengar sekejap, okay, very good. Okay, so important right, to open the floor for questions after every lesson, right, and then to make clear the answer, right. And there was once we were with Hababa, and Hababa, mashallah, I've never seen anybody teach fiqh just seated there, no whiteboard, nothing in her hands, in fact no book with her. Right? She makes us read the text and then she explains. It's a 3-hour lesson. No joke. 3-hour hardcore fiqh tau. Right? And you don't fall asleep. And it is from 7 to 10 p.m. twice a week. I used to go to her. So you be seated there the entire time, and not many people can handle 3 hours straight fikir hardcore and hababa. She just engages you the entire time, right? So there was once I remember she was like we were learning about bab tahara or something lah, and then she was they were asking her lah about all this, because she will have Q&A there and then. You can ask her there and then anything that you want, right? So and for whatever you ask, the dars will just take that the lesson will take that path, right? So somebody asked about tahara and they were asking about najis, right? Because there's all kinds of things about najis, that kind of thing. So I remember her, I can just see her doing it, right? I remember her, right? She was like, and she's very blunt sometimes, right? She will be like, okay, you know about ma'fu anhu, right? Ma'fu anhu means najis that is pardon, right? Pardon najis, right? So for example of ma'fu anhu is like ma'fu anhu, an example of ma'fu anhu is like, for example, there was a fly that came to ma'fu anhu is like you have a wound at your foot, right? And tissue is covered with blood, right? But the law is that you go and wash yourself and then you put the tissue to stop. That is called ma'fu anhu, right? That means it is pardon. And I still remember her, she was saying that, and you know, and she was pointing to, there were 5 of us in the lesson, right? But only 2 of us had children. The other 3 had no children, like, or like not married or something, right? So basically she said that, and she was saying, and you 3 don't know anything, like about she very bad. You have no idea about this ma'fu anhu when it comes to children, right? Because you all no children, and mashi khalfiyah. I can see her saying that, mashi khalfiyah. You have no experience, right? And she will turn to those with children, right? And then she will say that they know what I'm talking about, right? So when kids come, and she mentioned about the diaper, right? Is that ma'fu anhu or not, right? If a child comes to you with a diaper and it is soiled, a soiled diaper, it is not ma'fu anhu, right? It is najis. If it sits on you, your prayer batal, right? If you don't push the child off lah. Right? But don't push. I see people in Tarim, when the child comes to them in the prayer, they will just do this on the child, on the chest, right? Just do this, right? And then until they finish praying, and the child can come. And the children are so obedient. They will actually stop. They will stop there and they won't come. Right? Because they are not sure if the child is clean. But if you're very sure he is clean, then it's okay. Right? If you're very sure there's no smell, nothing, and after you pray you check, nothing, you know, like he's clean, then it's okay. Right? But then not to allow the child to come and sit on you while you are praying. Right? And then she was also saying, like, you know, about the drool of the child. And what about the drool? Right? Because when the child drools, sometimes the child vomits. Right? And vomit is najis. Right? Vomit is najis. So the ulama they do mention, and I saw all from how she teaches, because I'm someone, I have no clue what she's talking about, because I've never experienced it. So I'm like super blur, but it's stuck in my head until now. The law all stuck, right? Because of how she explained it. So she told us, you know, when a child drools, before that he vomited, right? And then you wipe his mouth, for example. And if it kena your baju, you must wash, right? Wash your baju because it is najis. Right? She said, what about the mouth? Inside his mouth, there's vomit, right? Because you don't gargle his mouth, right? Inside his tongue, all there's vomit, right? In front, all that. So she said that vomit in the mouth of the child, that is ma'fu anhu. That one, right? It is pardon, because you can't possibly wash the mouth of the child, right? It is impossible, right? But your baju, you must wash, right? And then she said that, and that is vomit, right? There is also something called milk, what do you call it? It's a word in Arabic. I can't remember what it's. But basically that thing lah. So she said that one, if you can see that it's still milk, right? It has not changed its sifat, right? I mean the sifat is still the same. It's exactly as how it will come up from your breast, exactly, right? That one means it has not reached the stomach. The moment it reaches the stomach and comes out, then it's vomit, right? But if it's at the throat, maybe the child is too full, right? So at the throat, so it threw it out from the throat, that is not najis, right? That one is clean. That one is just like milk lah, basically. Milk fell onto your baju, right? So and that one, mashallah, the way she described that, right? And I am someone who have no clue what she's talking about. I don't know what milk difference, like the kids vomit all the time, like, because she was saying, you know, it's all ma'fu anhu, the one that's in the mouth, because they vomit all the time. You can't possibly every time go and wash their mouth out. Right? What are you gonna do if them pour water inside? So the one in the mouth, forgiven. Right? But the one on you, wash. Right? The one that has not changed, right? That means it's still milk. That means it didn't reach the stomach. That means it's at the throat. I mean, it came out, and then you just, if you want to wash, you can wash lah. If you want to wash, you don't have to wash lah. Right? But that one is not vomit. So mashallah, the way they teach, no projector, no video, no drawing, nothing, just sit there and just deliver to us. It's all stuck in our heads, mashallah. Okay, we'll pause there. Right, so mashallah, Habib, he has given us the entire course on teaching in this part. He has like how many points? Subhanallah. Because he'll go into every subject. He actually goes into every religious subject and how do you teach each subject. Right, so and that's what will take up some time lah. Right, so how to teach Quran, how to teach fiqh, how to teach Aqidah, how to teach, and mashallah, right, that he has done this and in a very clear manner for us to memorize, understand, and then deliver. Right, so any questions? No questions? If the child, you have to be very sure that she's not najis. If he's leaning, if at any point he's somewhat on you, like on your baju, on your telekung, on your, that is considered to be on. You cannot be carrying najasa. Khalas. If you know that she's not clean. It's a bit difficult. I know it's difficult. I have no experience. Right, but if you know for sure she's not, this is why people in the societies, they toilet train very quickly, so they don't walk around with their najis. So by 1.5 by 1.5 toilet train, right? So they go around clean, right? So because they're very particular about all this in their prayer, so by 1.5 they train. So if you all want to lah, it's not impossible. Huh? How to start? Don't ask me. I have no clue. Ask my mother. My mother did for all of us. By 1 year old, she trained all of us. My mother, because she got 7, so she's like, I can't handle 7 diapers. Macam like, so she very fast, and we're all 1 year apart. So the moment the next baby came, the first baby must be toilet already. Not a few babies with diapers. Right, so the first baby must be done with his diaper, next baby come. Right, so we're all 1 year apart. So, and she's the one who made all of us, my siblings, toilet train by 1+ lah, at least. You can ask my mother, interview her, or ask the mothers here lah, how to toilet train. Horror. But it's okay lah, as long as you can control them and not jump on you when you're praying. Yeah, and then that's okay. Because the only issue is the prayer part, that they would do that. Any questions? Huh?
Say we are outside and then the vomiting happens, but it's a lot.
All over.
Then how? Like I'm sure it went to the, I mean there's curdles. Then I need to pray.
If let's say you can find a way to wash it off, that means get to a mosque toilet, take off your tudung, wash it, take off your baju, wash it, and nothing. Let's say in school also can what? To go toilet and go and wash.
Have to wash it off.
Have to wash it off. But if let's say the waktu only 5 minutes left, and you know you cannot go and wash and come and pray and it's still Zuhur, it's going to be asar already, right? In that case, right, hormat waktu. Hormat waktu. Because maybe for example you take wudu everything, right, and then you carry your baby, and then you went to the musalla, and you have 5 minutes left of the prayer, you're about to put the baby down, baby muntah. Right, and you know if you turun and you take out everything and whatever, khalas, you're going to azan asar. Right, you pray hormat waktu. You pray hormat waktu, but it is not sah. Right, you pray hormat waktu, you turun, after that you wash everything, make it clean and all that, come back, qada.
I shouldn't jamak.
No. You have to pray in the time. And then you come back and then you qada. Right. But I will double confirm the answer. I'll double confirm.
My husband said that all my kids are bigger than his. So I asked my husband how. Every single prayer time, they'll definitely be on me lah. Definitely either like on my brow or like everywhere.
And there's the most factor.
The most
Yeah,
factor.
it's like
Tudung to baju.
yeah, it's like confirm 100% they will definitely be. Then he was like thinking about it. Then I tried doing that method lah. It's very leceh lah. Like every single prayer time, I must put change and then clean myself.
Yeah.
Like if I'm going outside, it's very difficult. So he was like, okay. Then he was trying to find like a solution for me. And he said, okay, so maybe the solution is like he said that people who own cats and then they cannot avoid the cats punya what do you call that
Fur.
Yeah, so that was also ma'fu, right?
Yeah.
So he said, so basically for your case, like you really cannot avoid this vomiting thing, and because the vomit is really all over lah. Then just take it as ma'fu. Like you try to clean as much as possible, but if you cannot, just take it as ma'fu. But it's only for you. If he were to carry the baby and the baby vomits on him, he doesn't apply.
He has to wash it off.
Yeah, I mean that's what he said lah.
Or get this kind of waterproof tudung. They always.
Walking umbrella, I tell you. Like a walking umbrella.
Yeah lah,
I would
possible
even consider like
lah.
bringing extra baju for myself. Yeah.
Everything lah. Yeah lah.
I carry an extra baju.
Okay, okay.
Just in case.
Hey, you put the plastic under the tudung. So you put the plastic here. So you go through tudung and change tudung aja. Then you buka tudung and pakai telekung. I don't know, Allah Allah, I don't know. Hey, but you can put the plastic underneath, right? So it won't tembus. So you won't look like walking umbrella. Your umbrella is underneath. Okay lah, I don't know. I got no experience. Whatsoever. Yeah, but it's possible lah that it can be ma'fu anhu because there are opinions that those who like they work with a lot of goats. Right, so like especially Bedouins, right, they work with a lot of goats, cattle and whatsoever. So of course the ground is full of their litter, right, their feces. It's all dry, it's all on the ground. So for them to, and they only have one piece of clothing, these people last time. Right, they have to work, they have one piece of clothing, they just spray in their clothing. Right, and because it is like it's like a darurat situation lah. It's considered to be darurat situation. Right, but if you can, you don't. Right, if you cannot, then ma'fu anhu.
This ma'fu anhu, let's say about the cats, because you mentioned the cats. So if you have cats in the house, then I mean it's unavoidable the fur, right? So how about if you enter a house of someone with cats?
You have to brush it off.
You have to brush it off.
Yeah. But I'm of the opinion that, and I love cats. I'm of the opinion that it's not necessary to keep cats. You can. I feed cats around my block, but don't come into my house. So I still stroke them, I pet them, I feed them, right? But then I don't have them in the house, right? So as to avoid the entire first situation lah. Right? But it's not that I can't be kind to them. I can still be kind to them. Yeah. So I'm of that station now lah, whereby I don't keep cats in the house. And if I do, then the prayer room is off limits. They cannot enter the prayer room. And so all my cats in Tarim, all they try to run in lah. But then they're not allowed to enter the room whereby we pray in. And when I have to pray, I do change my baju. When I used to keep cats in the house, so I used to actually take that effort.